So with the SWIC, when you go to Ribbit, you download a SWIC file from our developer network. Adding this to Flex is very easy through the project properties. You actually just go into a Flex build path, and then you use the library path, which would be step 2 up there. And then you would click on Add SWIC, and you would find where your SWIC is at from where you downloaded it, the path to there. And you simply just import it into Flex, and you have the API at your grasp, basically. So let's do a quick API overview. Obviously, we kind of had this model of the core up to the tree, which is the application itself. So we have the Ribbit core. We have the Ribbit services is what really comes out of our backend, and our API kind of interprets what we can do with Ribbit services right now. So kind of the brick layer is the authentication manager. Obviously, you need to be authenticated to log in and to use the rest of the stuff. Then we have a different set of manager classes that manage different aspects of the API, and we'll get into those in a second. And the same thing with events, which is basically the grass layer. They talk to your application and let you know what's kind of going on. So with the manager classes, we obviously have an authentication manager that does log in and log out. And then we have a call manager, which is everything from dialing the phone, getting an incoming call, basically being able to answer that. We have the message manager, which holds everything from checking your voicemail, pulling in all of your calls, and then also sending SMS messages. We also have a neat feature which was basically part of the same now, which is called a shout message that we'll get into. The contact manager, obviously it has everything to do with your contacts. You can add, update, and delete. And then call log manager, if you remember when you were getting your, say, cell phone bill, and you can see all the details about a certain call, that's all, everything that's in that call log manager. You can see all the details about a call, how long it was, who it was from. So what's neat is on the other end, when we have events, so basically when we make a login event, we're going to listen for our login call method from the manager class. We're going to listen for an event back saying we're logged in and everything was accepted, now we're logged in. So the correlating event go right with the manager classes there. So we have authentication events, call events, message events, contact events, and call log events themselves. So I try to keep the naming structure very standard, very appropriate to what you're trying to do functionality-wise in your application. So a couple of you actually have the API guides. Let me get the rest of these out. Here's the API guide. If you start to check this out, you'll see how easy the API really is. It's almost whatever you want to do, it's one line of code. So you can tell up here at the top, how do I make a call? And you can look over and go, okay, it's just really a request, call manager, .dial. It's really that simple and easy. So everything that you can do with the API is literally just basically one line of code. So once we're in our application, and since who here that came in, who are you guys Flex developers, or have you guys worked with Ribbit at all? Anything? Okay. Let me get into Flex developer here really quickly. If any of you are developers with Eclipse, Flex Builder is based off of Eclipse, so there's a lot of similarity there. At the very basic root of every single Flex app is an application tag. Inside this application tag, we're going to basically put a namespace to Ribbit. Once we've imported, I know people, let me jump back really quick. In our actual project itself.
So can I ask a really basic question?
Sure.
As a Microsoft developer, I'm used to just one IDE for all the .NET stuff. Am I right to configure your own IDE?
Yes, Flex Builder does have its own IDE. It's based off of Eclipse. There's also an Eclipse plugin, so if you're also like a Java developer, you can kind of incorporate that into it, but you can get just a straight Flex builder.
Okay, but if I want it to be an integrated development environment, I get the Eclipse plugin, and then I can just be an Eclipse model.
Exactly. Yep. So at the basic root here, we're at the project level, and if you go under properties, if you remember the couple screens before about the build path, it's just right underneath properties. Go into the build path, the library. I've already, you pull up the add SWIC and you browse for it, and I've already added it in here. So now I have Ribbit already incorporated into my Flex project. And there's really, obviously, it's 3 steps to get it incorporated into there. So once we're in our application tag, we just need to make a namespace to it. We always like to call it Ribbit. You can call it whatever you want to. But it does go to com.ribbit.api.star. This pulls in all of the classes, all of the events, all of the methods, and everything that you really want to do. Now, the next thing you need to do is go ahead and create a Ribbit object. And we do this in the next line, where it's Ribbit services, and the ID is request. So once we've had that, we can now access the whole Ribbit services by just calling the ID of request. So when we want to log into Ribbit, we'll use the authentication manager, which houses all of our authentication events. And we'll do request.authenticationmanager.login. And we'll pass a username and password, an app ID, a dev ID, and any login params that we may want to add in. The app ID and dev ID are, well, the dev ID is given to you once you've logged in as a developer and have set up an account there. The app ID is a project that you've started. So you may have 3 or 4 different projects, and each one of those are going to have a different app ID. But your dev ID and your username and password all stays the same. So as we're making this call for the login, we're actually going to be listening for a listener event, and we do this by doing a request.authenticationmanager and add event listener. And in our API, we have an event that comes back called logged in. And so whenever that gets called back to us, you'll see that we'll go ahead and run a function. We can then go ahead and set up whatever we want to. We can maybe pull in our contacts after we've logged in. We can set up the phone so that we can start dialing. We can automate the whole system so that once we're logged in, we can send an SMS message right away. You can really do anything that you want to once you've logged in. So the basis of Ribbit and the telephony service that we have is making and receiving phone calls. So like that first line in the API guide, how to make a call. It's really just simply a request.callmanager.dial, and you pass in a phone number into it. It's really straightforward and easy. One of the new things with our 2.5 API that we have is what we call a two-legged call. And this is where, through the application, I can pass in 2 phone numbers. So, somebody can go ahead and put their phone number in. I can put my phone number in as the second property. And once I go ahead and click dial, it will call the first person's number. Once they pick up with their cell phone, then it will call my cell phone. And now we'll end up talking through our cell phones and not through the application. But the application itself will initiate the phone call itself.